So for the last week, I have been horrifically sick, and I'm just now starting to feel better. And so I had originally planned to film this as a full-fledged video and edit it, but I just absolutely had no energy and no ability to get anything vocal out because I lost my voice for like 3 days. So we're doing a live stream, and so the way we're going to set this up is for anyone that joins in, I'm going to answer any questions or see any of the opinions they may have towards the end. But I really just want to have this discussion of something I've been thinking about for a while now, or for a few weeks. So for anyone who's observant, I am not currently in Europe anymore. I am back in the United States. I will be for the next few months, just while I visit family for the holidays. Everyone was really starting to not enjoy me being gone for so long. So I've come back for a bit, and with that I decided to start working as a bartender again to save up a little extra money for the holidays. And with that has come the awkwardness of transitioning from this world-traveling person that now sits in park benches with dogs. Hello. Morning. So yeah, transitioning from gallivanting across stone circles and crawling through the muck to learn about ancient religions to slinging drinks across a bar top has been a really humbling transition. I love it, and it always leads to great conversations. But one of the interesting things for Yule is I have really struggled this year of what to tell people when they leave for the holidays. So when they leave the bar, do I say Happy Holidays? Do I say Merry Christmas? Do I say Happy Yule? So that's what I really want to kind of discuss today, is this kind of thought process I've had, because I'm sure many of us have had it. And at the end of the day, it's just words, and we shouldn't think that much about it. But I do think there's an important conversation here, especially when it comes to acceptance of, our global world while also being pagan and also celebrating these more pagan traditions. Because as I've said before, and the reason I love this season so much, and the reason I wrote a book about the winter season and its celebrations, is because I absolutely loved Christmas growing up. And so the Christmas spirit was legitimate. But Christmas was absolutely never a Christianity thing for me. And so whenever I say Merry Christmas, I never employ this idea of like I'm saying Happy Birth of Jesus or anything like that. It's always been just the spirit of the season. And so now that I, feel like I have a grasp on the origins of the spirits of the season, and understanding that they're primarily are pagan in origin, I do struggle a little bit with what to say to people. And so I have been going to saying Happy Holidays. Just because it's universal, right? You're just telling everyone, like, whatever you celebrate, Happy Holidays. Like, you're acknowledging the multiple different events that happen during this time of year. It's still special. But then something strange happened the other day. Is two women came to the bar, and they were both wearing crosses around their neck, small ones. And when they left, instead of saying Happy Holidays, I told them Merry Christmas. And I said it in a way that was like I acknowledged their religion. And maybe this is because I think this is maybe how the world should work, is, if you recognize someone is Christian, you say Merry Christmas. If you recognize they're Jewish, you say Happy Hanukkah. And if they recognize that, you're a pagan, you say, or a Scandinavian, you say Happy Yule. So I'm not sure. That's kind of one of the things I wanted to discuss. So if you have any thoughts on that, please put it down below. I'll try to scroll through here towards the end. And if anything pops up I can read really quickly, I'll totally read it. You're being respectful. That's good. Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, is just respect of acknowledging someone else's alternative belief. Another thought I had is if, say, someone came up to me and said Merry Christmas immediately, like, that was their first reaction. Maybe instead I'll return by saying Happy Yule. They're like Merry Christmas, and I say Happy Yule, Good Yule. And I'm curious to see what that interaction is going to be like. So if that happens this holiday season, I'm going to do that and see what happens. But I think what I've landed on is somewhat like, like the person said, is respect. Is one of the things I did is these two ladies that had the cross as well. They ended up tipping really well, like a holiday tip. And so I went out and I got one of my copies of A Yule Story, and I brought it in, which, Yule Story is this pagan-y, Scandinavian-y book. And I gave it to them. And I exchanged a gift with them, and I said, hey, your generosity means a lot. This is a book I wrote about the magic of the season. And they were so happy and so elated about it. And it's one of those things we didn't have to get into the specifics of our individual beliefs, but we still were able to share in the spirit of the season. And the reason I think this conversation is important before I film my video tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the Ark encounter, which, if anyone knows what that is, it is a like life-size recreation supposedly of Noah's Ark. It's here in Kentucky, and it's they do a holiday light exhibit, and it's free to go to. And I was looking for like beautiful holiday backdrops to film with. There's not many around here, and I really was like, okay, I think I want to go to this Ark recreation and film a video. Specifically, the video I had in mind was How Pagan is Christmas. And I'm going there with close friends, with Logan and Mary, and so they can protect me and hopefully keep people away if they ever hear things, because I am going to be talking about Christmas trees. I'm going to be talking about Santa Claus, and then I'm going to provide a legitimate answer of how pagan. What is the percentage of how pagan is Yule? I actually brought this down. I did math for the first time in 10 years, and I found a percentage of how pagan is Christmas. So I'm going to be recording that tomorrow. And as I mentioned in my video last week, you know, we definitely see all these memes that are like, you know, 2 drinks in, 3 drinks in before you start talking about the pagan origins of Christmas. And when looking into the pagan origins of Christmas, it's like, okay, it is pretty darn pagan. You ever see Christian people in the comment section saying that your gods are false and Jesus is the one true God? See a bunch of those, your thoughts. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's a slight like tangent, but yeah, I had a reel pop off on Instagram. It was for that Beltane festival in Edinburgh, and I think half of those comments were all people who were Christians saying, you know, that there needs to be another crusade and all this stuff. So yeah, no, there's definitely, and it's respect. So if they don't respect you, I'm not going to respect, you know, they don't respect me, they're us, I don't respect them, kind of thing. I don't usually come off as aggressive towards anyone, even if they show me disrespect, but I'm definitely not going to show them, you know, the equal amounts of respect of saying things like Merry Christmas or even Happy Holidays to them. I don't know if I necessarily get vindictive, but when it comes to, like, you know, things online, I just ignore it, honestly. I delete as much as I can on YouTube, but Instagram, it's a cesspool anyways, so I just kind of let it go. But yeah, I get that all the time, and I think it's because the YouTube algorithm gets things mixed up. They just assume all religions are the same, and so they promote, it can't actually differentiate between religious beliefs, and so it sends the same like everything just gets labeled spirituality and religion, and so it gets sent to everyone. And so you know, I notice anytime I have a video get popular of any kind, there's always a large amount of Christians watching it from beginning to end, mind you, and getting quite aggressive. But yeah, again, everything comes down to respect, and so even though I am going to film this kind of video of how pagan is Christmas and filming it in a very Christian place, I'm not doing it to necessarily be mean. There is a little humor, a little chaos humor, and yeah, I'm definitely inviting a little chaos. Okay, you know, there's a little bit in my life. I like poking the bear sometimes to see what would happen. I've never wanted to be that YouTuber that like pans for reactions or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm excited to film with it. But yeah, so as far as like being with the family during Christmas, and I mentioned this last week, is just acknowledging like the gift exchange of me giving the book to these 2 people, and acknowledging with them that there is this commonality between us. I think that's more important than trying to preach, because I mean, we don't like preaching, right? You know, it's one of the things we don't like about Christianity is the preaching. And so to preach to people and be like, oh, pagan, you know, Christmas is a pagan holiday, you know, and, you know, get a flag and start, you know, toting around, I don't think is really the answer. It's really just to embrace the spirit of the season. Another thought I had as well is, and this is something that's come up, you know, now that I've traveled Scandinavia, and I can get the perspective a little bit of, you know, things such as Midsummer or Yule are just holidays there. They're not necessarily pagan things. There's definitely people who oversee them as pagan things. But Yule is just the winter holiday. You know, saying good Yule in Scandinavia is just common. You know, celebrating Midsummer is just common, you know, largely in Sweden. And so, you know, these holidays don't necessarily have to be like this big pagan-y thing, you know, so saying things such as good Yule to people and they, oh, what's that? You know, you can be like, oh, it's just the Scandinavian celebration of winter. And they might be like, oh, that's great. And so I think if you use that perspective as well, I definitely recommend, if you're going to do that, be very respectful to the Scandinavians as well. You definitely want to do your research if you're going to use that perspective of, oh, I celebrate the Scandinavian Christmas, I celebrate Yule. You know, definitely look up traditions and things like that, and be able to talk about it and share those traditions in a respectful way, and share knowledge and show respect to what you're talking about. And I definitely like that that hard line with like cultural appropriation of, you know, a lot of these traditions are things that come from Scandinavia, but they're so widespread. You still want to pay homage and respect to these things, and that's ultimately how I think we're going to, you know, help mend those gaps between Scandinavia and the United States, because I think a lot of people are, you know, the reason they're waking up to the old cultures in Europe is just because we've lost our roots here in America. You know, and I plan on making a bigger video about this in the future, but we used to have the idea of the American dream and being, you know, the saviors of the world. We saved the world in World War I and World War II, and then we were the first in everything, and then we started losing that, and the American identity became nothing. The American identity became toxic in a lot of aspects. And I'm not saying it's horrible all the way around, but I think a lot of people started seeking their roots for that, and so I think a lot of people started looking towards the old countries. And so I do think it's important to revive these old traditions from these old countries. I'd love to see a Krampusnacht here in the United States. I'd love to see more Yule-themed stuff, but as long as they're done in a respectful manner, I think is the most important thing. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you say Happy Yule? Do you say Happy Holidays? Do you say Merry Christmas if it comes up? What are your thoughts on this? Oh, and at a real, and while you're thinking that, seriously, type your responses. I'll go through and read them here. What are your thoughts on saying these things? Or if you're watching this video after the fact, put in the comments. I read through all the comments for the most part, so put in the comments what you think of saying Happy Yule or Merry Christmas or this balance of respect. And then wish me luck tomorrow for the Ark encounter. But yeah, I shared that reel or YouTube short or whatever yesterday of the clip from last week's video of singing the Heilung song as a Christmas thing. And one of the members of Heilung, and Kashreen, I forget, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but one of the singers in Heilung commented that they were down for it. So Annika, I think, I can't remember. But yeah, I commented, I'm like, let's get the rest of the band on. Let's get a Yule album for Heilung. Because I think Yule is such a powerful concept. I think it's such a powerful tradition. So I'd really, really love to see it more prominent. Let's see here. I say Happy Holidays. Usually it's respectful and usually avoids obvious conflict with those who might be closed-minded. Oh, hey, good morning, Orion. I just say you too. It's equal and simple enough. I say all the above depending on who I'm addressing. Mostly Merry Christmas, maybe a Yule here and there. I do feel like there's a part of me, because again, I've really separated in my personal belief that Christmas is so completely separate from this idea of the Christian version of winter. And so saying Merry Christmas does feel a little bit more impactful, you know? It's like, because I was one of those people that was, but like 10 years ago, you know, even not being Christian and, you know, hearing more people say Happy Holidays. I'm like, no, it's Merry Christmas. Say the passion of this season, you know, the love of this season. Happy Holidays always felt a little bit muted to me. And as someone who absolutely loves this time of year, I always miss saying Merry Christmas to people or hearing it more often, because it genuinely feels like it's from the heart. And so I think that's the thing I care about the most, is say whatever feels like it's from the heart in the moment. I follow the Celtic pantheon, but recognize those from other pantheons as well. Does the Celtic itself have a winter holiday? I don't remember. Because obviously the Wiccan wheel of the year has Yule, which is typically what most Celtic people base their stuff off of, at least most neo-pagan Celtic people. But there's Samhain, and then there, you know, we have Beltane, and then Imbolc. There's not a midwinter. There's not a winter solstice celebration, if I remember correctly, from the Celtic. If there is, I don't remember it. It makes me happy to hear Happy Yule, but it doesn't bother me when people say Merry Christmas. I just say Happy Winter back. Yeah, I like that, Happy Winter. Let's see. I do say Happy Yule, and only sometimes do I get a smug look, but I also say Merry Christmas. Now, you know, one thing you could also do, and I was thinking about trying this as well, I feel like I'm using this working in a bar again as a experimentation of, of trying different things out with people and seeing what happens. And so what if I said, you know, like Merry Christmas and Happy Yule? You know, I think that would be good. Say it with a lot of passion. I think if you say anything with a lot of joy and passion, I think you can get away with it. So saying Merry Christmas and a good Yule, I think that could be the key right there. And I do wear, like, I do have the winter hat, but it's I didn't want to wear it today. I felt like it clashed with everything. But anyways, I've thought about I might wear this while working at the bar. I might wear a Santa hat because I think it makes people a little bit more generous. I don't know. I'm a very jolly person this time of year. It's like I said at the end of my video last time, is I really feel like as the warmth of our world fades away, we really have to open up the warmth in our hearts up to everyone. And so I noticed this as a difference is just last night, I had people come to the bar that were quite quiet. And by the end of the night, I had them all talking. Like the entire bar was individual people, and they were all discussing things and laughing and having a good time. And that is my favorite aspect about being a bartender at times, is being able to get people talking. And yes, I might treat it as a social experiment sometimes, but I think that's okay because my reason for doing this is I want to get people talking more. And yeah, I had that whole bar talking last night, and absolutely everyone tipped so well. And it's just because I show respect, I'm kind, I'm jolly, and I'm genuine. And you know, and half the people were like, I'm coming back on Friday, I'll see you again. And that's really cool. I really love that. I mean, bartending might be something I always do off and on throughout my life because I genuinely love the interactions I typically have with most people. And I usually, just the other night, you know, I talked to 2 different people about like shamanism and things like that. And I think that's it's always a lot of good talk. It's always good to smile and be merry. And it's contagious. 100% I agree. Seth Andrews, a very famous atheist who left Christianity, still says Merry Christmas because that's what the holiday is called. Let's see. Would you be able to give any tips moving and getting in touch with nature? I moved from rural Carolina to urban Connecticut and having trouble connecting with land here. Yeah, anytime you're living in a mega city, it's hard to connect to the land. I'm in a city right now, so this is a park behind me. And the reason I'm here is because the internet in my Airbnb is absolutely terrible. So it's better to be in a park with 5G. So I always recommend getting to parks. I think the biggest city I've lived in was Munich in Germany. And there's quite a few parks there hidden about. So just do a lot of exploration, see what parks are near you. Connecticut, you're not too far away from the ocean. So I recommend getting to the ocean more. You know, Connecticut, you have access to the Amtrak, the rail system, I think, more so than anyone else. So looking up where you can go with the rail system. When I was living in Glasgow was also a big city I was living in. You know, I could take a train from Glasgow and end up in the countryside very quickly. So see what public transit options are available to you, and just look up what parks are available to you as well. And I think you might be surprised. You might not be able to get your daily connection, perhaps at parks. But, you know, I definitely think you can get those major connections from things such as railways. Let's see here. I usually say, oh, good morning, Jeremiah. I usually say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, but it's a habit from working at big box stores this time of year. I'm working in the healthcare system and respecting the belief of my client. Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things, again, when I said Merry Christmas in a very, very genuine way to these ladies that had crosses around their necks, it just felt like a very genuine connection. Now, maybe they thought like, oh, yeah, he's saying it because he is also Christian, but regardless. And of course, I'll say it to my mom. I'll say it to my parents and things like that. I'll say Merry Christmas. But yeah, I think, honestly, guys, I didn't want this to be too long because I still wanted it to be a pretty condensed episode. But I wanted to make sure I could interact a little bit and create a video this week for you. But next week, I am looking forward to next week's episode. It is going to be hopefully entertaining, a little chaotic, but hopefully a beautiful backdrop as well. And I really am proud of the information and actually giving a number to how pagan is Christmas. I'm really looking forward to sharing this information with you. So be sure to tune in next week for my episode of How Pagan is Christmas, and to see if I survive or get kicked out of the Ark Encounter. Which I should add, the reason that they might kick me out is because they also own the Creationist Museum in Kentucky, and they're very famous for kicking people out of there that don't respect the fact they think dinosaurs were hanging out with Adam and Eve. So make sure there's not last minute things. But yeah, I just want to say to all of you, thank you very much for joining in and chatting. It means a lot. Anyone after the fact, please make a comment down below. I'd love to see it. But everyone, truly, thank you very much. And happy Yule to you all. Merry Christmas and Happy Yule to you all, because seriously, amazing time of year. Keep that warmth in your chest alive and share it with everyone else. Thank you all so very much. Happy Yule, and I hope you stay warm this winter.